second for folks to jump on in, but I'm doing this because this has been like a super irritating conversation I've like had like a back and forth with like the past few days. Just an example of like I shouldn't use that word. I came from the era of fighting games. I sound old. I sound like fucking Majin Obama. Where there is a clear, how should I say this? There's your scrubs and then like your competitive players. I feel like we haven't been like shunning scrubs enough in the past few years. I feel like in the Street Fighter 5 era, post Street Fighter X Tekken era, we got a little too nice. I don't mean like abusive, mean or anything like that, but just being more willing to call out certain players. Or not players, but certain behaviors within players. Because and not just like new players, intermediate players, high level players, top level players, champions, former champions, all that stuff. I think there is a real scrubbery issue, especially on the top player level, which if you look on Twitter, the title is Knee the Crybaby, but we'll get to that. This is a tournament that happened over this past weekend. TWT 2004, Battle Arena Melbourne, BAM. This is the same weekend that DreamHack Dallas was going on. I'm not going to talk about the JDCR controller issue, Bluetooth thing, because I think that's such a non-issue. It's been years, bro. Get over the Bluetooth thing. PS5 has ways to play games without the Bluetooth, so we've like it's a figured out thing. It just happened. They forgot to turn off the Bluetooth on the system. So the reaction that shit got is crazy. But never mind that. I want to talk about something that I think low key happened this weekend. That I saw that was kind of like weird. So let's take a look at this match. This is like a random match, day one. They're probably not even in like the top 24 yet or something like that, maybe. Let's just watch this match. Give me a second, hit my Twitch so I can kind of see what's going on. So this is a Claudio versus Jin.
Especially at the start of seven, but kind of not really so used right now. At least from what I'm seeing, we definitely got some strong players using him out in the world.
I need to wear headphones, but I didn't bring any. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can actually turn the commentary down. All right. So I'm not going to do a play-by-play necessarily. I just want when certain things happen, I want you to pay attention. Also, watch how he ducked that. We'll come back to that. All right, I'm gonna pause real quick. So one thing I've noticed that bothers me, and this bothered me like in Soul Calibur 5. When a meter gets introduced to a new game, to like a game that didn't have meter before, I notice players have a really hard time not to. They do two things. They either don't use it and forget about it, or they use it as soon as they get it, and then they don't like let it. Say if like Jin did his heat engager right now and had like a full stick of butter on his heat, they would like do like a heat dash immediately just to get the pressure. And it's like, that's nice, but what about all the chip damage? What about all the like the buff moves you get out of heat? What about like King, for example, like the fucking way he can regain heat if he does throws, just frame throws and stuff. There's a lot to it that I think people miss out on. But let's continue. If you notice in the play, it's not super high level. You know, it's like high level blue rank type play so far at least. Good break. Got it. Press the button there. Okay. What do we just see there? Let's go back. Let's go back. What do we just see there? That's not a mix-up. Let's keep going.
Trying to build up some momentum in the zone, but very difficult right now.
Didn't break that throw. 1+2 throws are funny because like it's a throw that I think you can press a button just for 1+2, but that would cost me. He did it again. He did a high into a low. Keep that in mind. I forgot my other train of thought. It's part of the narrative I'm building. Give me a second. The Claudio was just completely outplaying the gym player. Like, clearly. Wait. All right. So what did he? How did he? Okay, he heat burst. He did one electric and then wasted his entire heat bar.
Right now, Cheapy's on the verge of losing his heat, getting timed out and activated there. Tried to parry. Didn't
time that parry well, which also plays into the narrative I'm getting at. I'm getting there. We're getting there. This is the most exciting match. Majin Obama just put out a video about like how not every match needs to be like high level, like, you know, cream of the crop type shit. You know, it can be lower level and you can learn something from it. But so far, if you've noticed, the Jin player isn't playing Tekken 8 defense. He's playing Tekken's 5 tag 3 through 7 defense. Very risk averse. He's going on offense now, but
they just keep walking, just pop up like nothing happened and just keep going.
Notice that our Claudio here hasn't done too many. That was bad offense. Our Jin here hasn't played Tekken 8 defense. He's been playing like old school defense. Wall. I think he meant to do a dash right there, but fucked it up. But he got it anyway. Oh, set. Wait, hold on. So that's the only time that he's done a mid after like a wild running two. Keep that in mind. And there was a pause mid too. That's so fair. So he did 4-4-2 at the wall there. He does this twice within the round. Not important, but it's something that I know as a gym player is want to do. Nice. Good combo. He's trying to get the wall here. He's forcing it. He should have done like the attack throw. So Claudio gets back on offense. Has a lot of gray life.
The craziest part was that was technically a no mix-up. Yeah,
exactly. There was no mix-up. There was no mix-up. So, I didn't watch this match. I didn't watch the stream, but I saw that part. Let's go back a little bit. Slow it down a little bit. 2, 3, 4, and a low. He backdashed into the wall, by the way, so he could have got clipped. Yeah. That's what happened. So, mind you, I'm not watching DreamHack or this because I was kind of Combo Breaker got me tired. I watched and listened to the entirety of those streams. Here what this nigga knee posted. Is this a defense issue or a chip damage issue? And so, I'm clicking on the link and shit. I'm kind of just like, so we just watch it again. I'm just kind of like, what am I looking at here? I'm just looking at this. Jin Player has a nice, huge life lead. He's winning the match. He gives up his positioning here. Let's just go back a little bit. Gives up his, so he does like a 4-4-2. Like he said, he did that earlier in the match. Trying to force the wall bounce situation here. But also, that move is negative on block, I think. It should be. It is. It's kind of crazy as fuck. But yeah, so Claudio has a little bit of life to get back. There's a comeback to him. He's enraged. So Jin accurately backs off a little bit. It's not like a rage art would kill Jin, but if he got hit by one, yeah, honestly, to be honest, if I was in Jin's shoes here, I would probably be playing a little bit more offensively. I don't really. There's no threat here. Of because Claudio's not even in heat yet. He could have honestly the best move, and this is a Tekken 8 thought. Think about this: with Tekken 8, run up and throw. So if he heat bursts, you catch it, and it kills him. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? I'm not. This is not. I don't want to criticize either of these players too much because I do think that they're at a certain level where the mental stack isn't there yet. And you can tell if you watch that they're not all the way there. Cool. I don't care about that. I care about this next sequence. So he backs off, and he jockeys for space and stuff like that. Gets hit by a low, heat burst. So Claudio's getting that comeback potential. Jin loses a little bit of gray life. So there's the first while running 2. This move is like +6, so it has frame advantage. It's +6. It also there's also a bunch of stuff you can do afterwards when you're +6. You can't sidestep unless the move that comes out next is super linear, like another one. But typically, if Claudio does like a mid, you're getting hit. He's in heat, so he can do some safe mid heat launchers, basically. So there's a threat here, and Jin can lose if he presses the wrong button because there's the wall blast on the other side. 2, he's also losing life every time he blocks this. So the Jin is just sitting here. The first one, okay, I don't mind you testing the wall to see what he did. But also, mind you, when we was watching the match earlier, every time Claudio did a while running 2, he did a low immediately afterwards. He did something that was basically duckable every single time. The only mid he did was when he was doing while running 2, and Jin got hit on the ground, and then he delayed the mid follow-up. And he just kept doing it. And then right at the wall, went to the low. This nigga knee. Or honestly, I'm giving Knee some credit. He's one of my favorite players in the world. But this man said, is this a defense issue or a chip damage issue? It's not a defense issue. It's not a Freudian slip. It's not a chip issue. If you're worried about the chip in this situation, it ignores so much more than what's going on here. He gets hit. Claudio's in a very advantageous position. Still in the advantageous position. Block, yep. Block, yep. Block, yep. He took 4 uncontested while running 2s. Let me just start from the top. I don't like the way Knee framed this as like, is this a defense issue or a chip damage issue? It's disingenuous. What he's basically implying is that these 2 players, these guys who if I were to put them on a rank match list or something like that, they're probably like purple rank, blue rank, maybe a little bit higher. There wasn't a lot of really like expert movement or really like airtight offense or anything like that, or really like active defense. There wasn't anything there that made me say, okay, this is high level play, right? You're using 2 people who aren't really playing at the same level as Knee as a way to push your agenda to move the game in a direction that you like better. I don't have a problem with Knee not liking the game. I think that's fair. I'm not trying to account for taste here, but I also feel as though there's a bit of just crybaby scrubbiness to it too. When you get to a point when you're more concerned about complaining about a game than just playing what's in front of you, especially as like a pro player, I think that's a bit scrubby. I think when you're trying to like shift the game in a direction that the devs may not necessarily want to go, because if we're being honest, none of this is unbalanced. You may not like it, but as far as anything goes, Jin had options. Jin could have ducked. Jin blocked. Jin could have parried if he timed it correctly. Jin could have power crushed if the mid came out, so he would have beat that option. He wouldn't have beat the heat smash, which is why I think ducking was probably a better option anyway. But he could have, if he was scared of the mid, he could have power crushed. And once his life got low enough from all the chip damage, he got rage. So think about this, right? If the chip damage was so bad, I think that the fact that he got rage and didn't use his rage art in a situation where his opponent was plus frames is a little like there's clearly he froze. He didn't consider his options. And so there's this weird like thought process, or lack of a thought process, towards the game. It's like he didn't interact. The chip damage gave the gym player an out, and he didn't take it, and that's on him. So like I don't see how we're, and this is just not me, it's a whole bunch of other players who also like take this opinion, but they're saying like this is something that's wrong with the game. I shouldn't be getting punished on block, which doesn't make sense for this game. The game is punishing you for blocking, so do something else or die. I don't think that's a bad thing in and of itself. It's something you may not like, but I don't think that's like a bad thing in and of itself. And so I don't see the complaints tell me that people aren't investing time in learning to adjust to the game and learning to actually play the game in front of them. It's like the classic, you play to win the game. You don't play it just to play it. Football coach, I can't think of his name right now, but like that's the general attitude I feel towards when I see comments like, oh, this game's scrubby, they want you to mash. Yes. Don't just sit there and like not press anything. You're not making the correct decision by blocking in some instances. Like Tekken 7 has created a very risk averse, compact, I don't want to do anything type game. And, you know, I'm going to play it safe as possible. Because if you think about it, Tag 2 and Tekken 7 were very explosive games. They did a lot of basically like if I press the button wrong or if I whiff, I'm dead. So let's not make an easy mistake, you know? Moving this up a little bit. And I get it. That's how the game was played. Funnily enough, my play style never really matched that. My play style was always, I don't respect your options. Like I don't respect your options. I don't care, because I can duck punch a high in the middle of the string. I can hop kick. I can do Lee's parry or Beck's parry when I play Beck. I can armor in Tekken 7. You know, I'm more willing to press buttons at what you perceive as an advantage or you perceive as your offense. And that got me killed a lot. It still gets me killed to this day. Like, I'm not saying I'm a perfect player. I'm not saying I'm like a top player. But honestly, that shouldn't mean I don't have my opinion is somehow invalid. Which some people were basically saying. It's about like, you make top 8 at a super tournament and stuff. I'm like, bro, I've been playing fighting games since, bro, like competitively since like 2010, 2008, bro. Like, that line of logic does not make sense to me. I've been watching these games for a long time. I can conceptualize them a lot better than I can play them, and it's an ignorant way of thinking. Like, if you're so good, it's like, it's not about me being good. I can just conceptualize these things a lot better because I play games long enough. I play different types of games, and I understand those games to a certain level to where I'm like, this is decisions that's being made. This is like, the devs want to do this, so this is what happens. Do I dislike some of these things? Yes. But if I'm learning to play the game and I want to play the game, what I like and don't like honestly doesn't matter if I want to get better. I have to play what's in front of me. And if I don't like it, I'm not going to play it. And I don't want to sound like I'm saying like, don't like it, don't play it. To a degree, I believe that, but I feel like people do genuinely like playing the game. It's just aspects like ship damage and heat. Rage would have been, heat is the new rage at this point, bro. The way people were complaining about Rage in Tekken 6 or Netsu in Tag 2 or maybe Tag 1, I don't know, or the high low crush system in Tekken 5 and Tekken 6 too. Like, the way people complain about this stuff is circular. It's like, it's the same old thing because it's just like, you just have to get used to it. It's there. Use it. You can use it too. Like, if you think chip damage is too high, do you think that outplaying your opponent by making them block and forcing them to be in a very passive position? I kind of like this now. I'm sorry. Forcing them, I might move that down a little bit actually. Forcing them to be in a more disadvantageous position to where your offense is so locked tight that they can't press buttons. You think that's a bad thing? You think you outplaying them? That's outplaying people. You know, if you're forcing them into mix-ups because they don't feel like pressing buttons, then you won, baby. Do you think you got to win every match on some like whiff punish or something like that? Which is basically what they're saying. But I digress. I just think that I don't like that Nee is using his top player privilege to like nudge the game in a certain direction. I think that's a bit scrubby. But he's always done this. That's the thing. I remember back in Tekken 6, he was complaining about tracking moves and said it made the game 2D. Whether you agree or disagree with that, fact of the matter is, Nee never likes a Tekken game when it first comes out. He likes Tekken, but he never really agrees with the decisions made in each individual game. Whether it be tag 2 and complaining about like the tag system in and of itself, whether it be Tekken 7, Akuma, top tier characters like that, which I get the complaints there, but like at the same time, you're at a top level, dude, and Akuma's part marketing. They're not gonna like kill that character like that. Because funny thing is, they did end up like doing like giving him low health or something like that. That character would probably be borderline useless. It would actually justify them buffing the character a lot, but that's neither here or there. But it's like, and just other aspects that you complain about. There is just he doesn't gel well at first with games, and he has to like sit on the games for a while before he gets like really good at them. The performance he's having now is very similar to the performance he had like in early Tekken 7. He does well enough to like get in grand finals, but like he'll not, or get in top 8, and he'll play that well because he's just a good player. But at the same time, he struggles with the minutia. And so like you saw in Combo Breaker, he kind of like fell apart. And in this game in particular, that's going to be a lot more prescient that you have some type of endurance, because this game requires you to interact, and interactions do a lot more mental work than people are kind of like hinting at. When people are talking about the offense in this game, they're not realizing that if the offense is so oppressive, that means that your defense has to be very active, very pinpoint. And it also goes for your offense as well. There's a lot of ways for your opponent to counter whatever you got going on, you know? Even if you are trying to like, you know, take steal turns and stuff like that, you know? And so what we saw at Combo Breaker was just that. The mental toll of the game. Because remember, I don't know if anybody remembers Combo Breaker, they were playing all weekend. It was the biggest game of the weekend. And so those people, I don't think Nee and all the rest of the guys took a break. They went from like top 64 that morning all the way to like top 8 that evening. So there's just so many pieces to that puzzle that I think he has to deal with. Arslan too got on my nerves too early on, but I think he has a character that he can probably adjust to his style at least. I don't know about Brian being Nee's character. Brian needs some buffs before that, I think. I'm not saying that Brian is like low tier or nothing like that, but I don't think that character. We wanted to see Nee get better with the character, I think. But I don't like the fact that Arslan, Nee, and a few other top players, the way they like criticize the game is like, I don't like this. So by that merit, it's bad. Whereas where it should be, I don't like this. I'm gonna, and some people, they'll like toss a gesture towards, you know, like adapting to the game, but it's a resentful, like I'm resenting this adaptation. Which, if you ever read David Serling or watched Day 9's Eliminating Assumptions video, you're kind of like, that's brain poison. That resentment you get from just trying to learn a game, and then like you're overly concerned about the stuff you don't like, is brain poison. It doesn't allow you to get better. And so that's why it's going to take a lot of the top players to kind of get adjusted to the game. Arslan losing to that King player, I can't think of his name right now. I think he's popped up in the video. Hold on, give me a second. He popped up at the bottom of the screen. Dr. something. Well, anyways, Arslan lost that match. Anyways, to get to my final point, Nee needs to stop being a crybaby. Learn a game, bro. Gotta just get in the lab, hunker down, figure some shit out, or take a break. You've been grinding for probably months now. I know you've probably been traveling like crazy. I don't know when the next tournament is. I think there is one tournament in Korea too. Like, take a break before like CEO and Evo, bro. Please, because y'all are gonna burn yourselves out. Learn from the Street Fighter 6 player. That's the other thing about this too. This is very reminiscent of just like the past year of Street Fighter players burning out. Like, the game requires you to interact and to play it and to like not just sit on a certain play style or sit on, because people can say like, oh, it's just like one play style that you play. It's like, no, it's a little bit more intricate than that. Being able to interact, playing passively should to some degree should still work, and I think it does work in Tekken, but but it's just less emphasized. And I think the same thing happened with Street Fighter 6. But I think also with that game too is like it's such a intricate game that you have to consistently be on point, and you have to be willing to throw all the old stuff away and bring the new stuff in. But that Street Fighter, every numbered game is different, so there's more room for adaptation or for like the differences and stuff like that. Tekken hasn't had that. The only time that's been different to some degree is like the tag games and 4. And the tag games don't change the game that much. It changes more so other aspects, you know. 4 just neutered movement, you know, back and forward. I won't say lateral. I think that's 3D. But they changed back dashing. So, you know, X-axis movement. So you're all up in the other person's face. And so maybe mashing is a more viable strat in that arena. But the game was so poorly received in a lot of areas that, you know, they just didn't want to try anything. And so we got stuck with the same game for almost 20 years, at least conceptually speaking, you know, and they've been trying to cut back on movement since Tekken 4. So they don't want the tag 1 movement, so they completely cut it off in Tekken 4. Tekken 5 is back, but not in the same capacity. Tekken 6 is cut a little bit, and they added homing moves, so sidestepping is nerfed too. Tag 2, they loosen up the movement just a little bit, and then Tekken 7, they kind of bring it back to like worse than Tekken 6 in a lot of instances. In this game, they cut movement, but then they made sidesteps better. But so you're not just relying on backdashing, since it was good. Backdashing was still super good in that game, so they focused more on the lateral than like the X and Y, the backwards and forwards. The fact that I could just say all that, right? The fact that like we've had games that whole like lateral movement thing, while it's been changing every game in some form of fashion, there's still pieces of the same game over and over again. This game changes a lot, and people aren't reacting well to the changes. In a lot of instances, it's polarizing. I don't think it's negative reaction necessarily. Some people are just like, especially on Twitter, it's like bad hate. But I remember Imagine Obama not really saying the game gelled well with all its mechanics. And I said that and looked at him like, bro, you play Anime Fighter. There's no way none of this makes sense. But if you think about it in this way, when you think about it in the mindset of how should Tekken play, then it makes sense. Yeah, none of this makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense within the context of just this one game, but broader context, no. And that's the problem people are having. And so to kind of end this stream off, we need to do better, community. Stop being scrubby. If you don't like the game, take some time away from it. If you don't like aspects of the game, take some time away from it. Take a break. I took a break because the game is hectic and it is a little bit stressful. But I am enjoying the game. I also play a character and have a play style that fits the game, funnily enough. But you know, can't wait for Liddy to drop. That's gonna be fun. Can't wait to watch more tournaments. The tournament stuff has been super exciting, so I can't wait for that. But Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get on Nee's ass for like a good. I didn't know it would last like a whole hour. So it wasn't the intent. But and I gotta re-record. Not re-record. Kind of like it. But I'll put this on YouTube. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like there's growing pains and people aren't reacting in the best way, and so they're hitting the base scrubby instincts. It's very it feels like everything like David Serling was talking shit about in the book Playing to Win, and it's like Seth Killian and David Serling like he's so upset at y'all, bro. Not to like deify David, but the book is good. Like the book is solid. Like people disagree with it because there's aspects to it that are a little bit like it seems like lack fun, but if you want to play competitively, you gotta like drop all the pretenses and just learn the game. That's it. Well, all right, folks, I'm about to do some other shit. Love y'all. Peace. And I'll edit this down, put it on YouTube later. All right.